So I'm Andrew Bostick. I'm a graduate of the class of 2012. I actually did a double major in English literature and economics. Where I originally got interested in gardening was really from reading that book, The Omnivore's Dilemma by Michael Pollan, prior to coming to Haverford. And, as I was really thinking about all those issues that he talks about, industrial agriculture and things like that, I wanted to, somehow apply that to a Haverford Center for Peace and Global Citizenship internship. So my proposal was basically to go study different farming methods in France and ended up living with 4 different families over the course of about 8 weeks, just to try and understand a different culture, and a culture that's much more focused on, the origins of its food and its cuisine, as opposed to, I guess, in the US, which can be very industrial and homogenized. So the second summer, I think it was before my sophomore year, I lived at Haverford and got a second CPGC grant to basically author a pitch to the college of, why we should be gardening on campus, how we could expand the garden. And to me, the big issue was, colleges are wonderful institutions, but they're very fluid in the sense that the students come and they go. And so how could we create a structure where there was kind of this institutional durability of the program? And so the pitch, which was ultimately accepted by I guess, President Emerson at the time, was to say, let's, do more gardening on campus, and let's designate students to, basically receive funding so that they can focus on this full time. I think that the first summer was largely a success, from a gardening or like an agricultural perspective. I mean, we were able to plant a lot of the produce, I guess, in the spring semester, probably around, early May or something like that, and then we're able to continue tending it through the summer, as a lot of individuals were still living on campus in the apartments at that time. I think what made it a success was that there were a number of students who were really interested in using the garden as a space for learning and relaxation. And, it felt like every single day there were at least 10 people that somehow came through and did some type of task to improve the space, which, as as a gardener, a little bit each day makes a process much easier than if you're trying to do everything once a week or something like that. When I was founding it, those 2 individuals I mentioned, Faye Strongen and Peter Block, definitely helped get it off the ground. But there were just a lot of students that enjoyed the process and helped out a lot. We tried to do a lot of social events around the gardens too, and so I know we did one large cookout that summer, kind of trying to celebrate the harvest, and then another in the fall, in collaboration with the dining center. I think the challenges were always, how can we do more? How can we make this bigger? How can we impact the volume of food that we're eating at Haverford more? But on the whole, it was very positive. I think that the importance of the garden, or really what it allows people to do, is it just opens their eyes, right? And I have a lot of memories of individuals coming to campus and friends that would sign up for a work day on a Saturday and just come out, and it's the first time they've ever picked a tomato or pulled a carrot out of the ground, and you could just kind of see the wheels spinning as they started to think about where food is coming from. All of these issues surrounding food, whether it's environmental problems with how food is produced and global warming and things like that, or even just like income inequality and food justice. I think they're things that you have to at least be aware of. And, as a social institution, Haverford needs to be intentional about these things and thinking about these things, because, colleges are a space where you have time and energy and resources to have those sorts of conversations. Probably what those summers did for me was take me from being someone that had a very cursory knowledge of gardening and get a better understanding of really the whole process. Coming back to Haverford and being in charge of the garden from planting in the spring to clean up in the fall, and kind of critically thinking about, what are we going to plant? When is it going to come out? How do I succession plant something else that's going to go in, and how can we kind of like maximize the space? Those are skills that, I learned there and am still trying to, improve today. So actually, since I've graduated and kind of where I live now, I've tried to do as much with the small little plot of land that we have. So I have some raised beds, and then also my big project when we moved in was planting a bunch of apple trees. So we're not there yet, but hopefully in the next 2 years or so we'll have a bumper crop of 4 or 5 different types of apples too. And it's funny, I was reading back to that report that I sent you, or maybe it was the article, and I was quoted as saying, "I'll always be someone that gardens." And it's just funny that here it is, pretty much 10 years later, and 10 or 11 years later, and still at it. But it's a testament to how invigorating and challenging and relaxing it can be at the same time.